genuine moment captured. You know, you could see him moving around like, you know, he's really believing what he's saying and at the same time trying to get the point across. But when you listen to him go back and forth and you look at his sense, all you got to do is do like a mathematical measurement. You, like for example, the facts. All you got to do is go back and look at what he says, and you'll see that these facts are true. And then you tailor that to his arguments, and you could tell like he has too much sense to literally believe in the story of Yaqub. I don't believe it takes away from his sincerity and reverence toward Elijah Muhammad because of the teachings that he unveiled to him, and the potential or the hypothetical that like if they decided to go more radical, he'll definitely go there. I don't think it takes away from none of that. I just feel like as far as like the religious portion, as far as the guy Yaqub, I don't think he internalized that. But I do think he used it as kind of like I say, he's sincere. But as far as like this facet, I think he used it as like a aesthetic tool to also not beguile and not just ingratiate, but help uplift a people for the betterment. You get what I'm saying? Like he's a long ranger also. I can see that. You know what I mean? It's almost like Santa Claus, right? You know, so you tell your kids this, it keeps them alive, it keeps them this, it keeps them that, it keeps them looking forward, it keeps them, trying to be moral, be in line, do the right things. You know what I mean? But eventually when they grow, they gonna understand Santa Claus is not real. You know what I mean? But it also helps in the upbringing as well, the story, kind of. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like similar to that as far as like why I don't think he believed in the religious portion. I think, because first off, him dealing with people on the streets and him being a hustler prior to this, that helps helps his, well, I'm going to say like him engaging a lot. It helps his understanding of psychology. You know what I'm saying? Of course, his experience is a benefit as well. Him dealing with so many different con artists at the same time. So if he's able to see through it, it's like it's too commonsensical. One has to understand that the religious portion as far as Yaqub was just an aesthetic tool. You know what I mean? But it doesn't take away from anything else concerning Malcolm X and the measurement of himself. That's kind of like how I look at it. Matter of fact, also I pointed out that Barack Obama also views Malcolm X as his favorite civil rights leader. He says it in his book, Dreams from My Father, Chapter 4, page 86. He says, out of all the black writers, he felt like Malcolm had a plan and he didn't just have sharp criticisms, and all the things about, the white man being a devil and this and that. He felt like it was incidental to the man himself, his aim. This is the first black president of the United States himself. So I don't know. I just, again, like, I'm just going to end this saying Malcolm X to me is one of my favorite civil rights leaders, but he's also one of my favorite thinkers. And thank God it's live material out there to where you actually get to see him, but at the same time listen. So it's like it's a explicit mathematics there, and then it's an implicit mathematics there. Is what I'm pretty much saying. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's just what I think about him. I'm gonna add one more thing. It was an exotic fact. It's the most recent exotic fact that I came across. So it had to be about 2019, maybe 2018, 2019. But it was on the Breakfast Club, I can admit that. And it was Angela Yee. And it was some type of special about Malcolm X. It could have been like a documentary series. Was it The Kings of Harlem? It was some recent special, but they was having a conversation about it. And I don't think it was her rumor report. It could have been within rumor report. I tried to find it yesterday. I could not find it because it was like a rare, like trying to find it is hard because I can't just look up the title like okay, because it could not. It possibly may not be the Kings of Harlem, but it was some type of special about Malcolm X. You know what I mean? So it's hard to find it because I can't just type in keywords like Angela Yee speaks on Malcolm X. Nah, but anyway, her and Charlemagne was talking, and she referenced that within this special, where Malcolm X was concerned, don't quote me on this, it could be Ozzie Davis. Ozzie Davis. One of these famous musicians, one of them, they were about like 13 or 12. She said 12, I believe. He said Malcolm X gave him a little cocaine. So I'm listening and I'm watching this and right, I'm like, oh. So I'm looking. I'm like, that's interesting. I'm listening to see what Charlemagne gonna say. Cause, like I say, Malcolm X is respected by a lot of people. Charlemagne's one of those people that respect Malcolm X. I had a thought that came in my shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be braggadocious. I had a thought that came in my head. So I'm looking, I'm like, what the boy about to say? So I'm listening. He kind of he didn't really respond to it. And then, you know what Angela Yee did? She was like, you know what I'm saying? She threw a little measurement out there. When listening to it, I could tell. It was like, she wanted to see what would he say to that. Because, I mean, it's not saying it's starring anything, you know what I'm saying? Because on the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne mentions Malcolm a lot. So, and Angela Yee does her homework. You could tell she does her homework for the rumor reports and all of that. So she threw that in there. And the way Charlemagne responded or didn't respond, she also chuckled. It's almost like, okay, I'm going to throw this out there to see something. Okay, yeah, I see. They responded the way, yeah, okay. And took it back. I was like, wow. Because what if you had a conversation with somebody, or you was just debating with somebody, a discussion or whatnot, and somebody brings that up, and they're on the opposite side of the fence. Maybe they don't like Malcolm X. They fairly heard what they heard or read what they read, but, they just don't like him. What if a person says, okay, the dude was fake? Are you going to give a 12-year-old some cocaine? This is a famous person that says this. So he can't be lying about Malcolm. He's a famous black person. You know what I mean? Like, they might try to kind of, try to call him fake or immoral or use that as something against his integrity. What would you say to that? They'll say he was a drug addict himself. Why would he give somebody else some cocaine in the first place, let alone a 12-year-old? See what the chuckle was for? Now, this is what I'm thinking, like, at the time. But, just, again, going through the book again years later and, and remembering certain things that I didn't remember, I say the second part. But the first, at the time, this is what I was thinking. It is said, and I learned this when I was younger, that Malcolm X, after he died, that his body was so clean. Like, the person that did the autopsy on him or whatnot, they said that Malcolm had the cleanest body that they ever seen. See what I'm saying? So when she said to him initially, that popped in my head like, well, he can't. That's the part that popped in my head as far as like, well, he can't be a drug. A dope head, you know what I'm saying? The signs would have shown in his body. That's number one. Number two, I ain't with that. I wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not interested at all. I don't care if people say, okay, you can get you a little small, slight boost. You know what I'm saying? As a secondary way to look at it, that could have been like a once in a while boost thing. That's what I thought to myself. Like, again, taking the frameworks out for a second, just picking up the whole bar frame, throw that to the side, and look at it pure. It's like that could have been just like a once in a while little boost for him or whatnot. I wouldn't do it. So that's the second part. Then I'm like, today, again, just going over certain things and remember little small things that I forgot. There's another one, his experiences in Boston, for example. when he first started paying attention to the nightlife, and he trying to immerse himself within it, and he noticed the 10 and the 12-year-olds that were gambling and playing cards and asking adults for money, on the almost like on the books basically, you know what I'm saying? How young they were at the time and the slang that they were used, so they were faster. Now again, this is the implicit part. If he noticed that with them as far as the children, who's to say that some of them at that age didn't do this or that? Remember, when Malcolm first noticed this, he was only 14 years old. He got cool with Shorty. Shorty was 10 years older than him. Shorty was 24. Malcolm was 14. It only took Malcolm 2 years to get a little status on the streets when he got, cool with Sophia, the white chick or whatnot. So looking at it a certain way, it's like, this the second part, this the, oh, you know what I'm saying? This particular musician, maybe, he wasn't squarish in that sense. Maybe he had fit the mold of these children that Malcolm X first was startled by when he seen them doing things that adults do. Going back to the mentality thing almost, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, either way, there's, either one is a definite refute, but it's also truth at the same time. You know what I mean? But anyway, I thought that was interesting. I always kept a note of that. I'm sort of disappointed that I can't find the exact video. In the future, I'm gonna find it and probably put it in my stories or something. But it was notable. You know what I mean? I think that's about it. As far as Malcolm, I got like all the essentials out. I'm getting anything or whatever, I use that for like future follow-ups. But yeah, Malcolm X is definitely one of my favorite leaders. So there you go. It's your boy JL. That's my thoughts. This is my thoughts on Malcolm X's autobiography. Y'all have a good one.